again, welcome to the Golden Hour and the Manifest to Live Life Golden podcast and YouTube show. I'm Golden Duffy, your host, and today I'm gonna give you all the evidence there is that there is nothing wrong with you. No matter what you are experiencing right now or what you have been experiencing over the course of time can change very quickly once you know this information, once you start to implement this information. So I wanted to do a show about this because I was reflecting. I actually went and found some journals. I came across some journals from when I was a young mom and I was dealing with a whole bunch of stuff with my kids. And I literally was in this place spiritually and mentally where I was begging God to help me. Please help me with these children. Please help me to stop yelling at them. Please help them to stop fighting. All the things that I was doing that was just catapulting this feeling of powerlessness and unworthiness, and the fact that I needed to beg God to help me, to help get me out of these situations and help me to manage life in a different way. So it's interesting to look back. If you've ever journaled before and you have some old journals, it's really cool to go back and see how far you've grown and how many things you have experienced in life and gotten through, and give yourself some freaking credit. I don't think that we do that enough. I don't think that we celebrate our wins enough. I think we're always consistently moving forward and we're just, not spending time really understanding the incredible brilliance that we are, or the perspectives that we now have that we are, able to share with other people, when we can give that wisdom back, when we can take what's happened to us and let it become good, give it to somebody in a way that allows them to navigate their path a little bit easier. It lets you make peace with your past. It helps you to understand that there are no mistakes. There's absolutely no mistakes. As much as you can say, oh my gosh, I did this and it was so wrong. I mean, I have heard so many stories from people, and I have faced things myself where you look at them and you go, man, I royally screwed that up. I'm royally living in regret. I wish that I could change things. And you're in a lot of resistance to what has happened. You can't allow the true healing, the full healing. Oh, let's see. Okay. The full healing to take place because you're in a state of regret. And in regret, you're in a lower vibrational state where it doesn't allow you to transform the situation into a place of healing, into a place of knowledge and wisdom and more information about it, so that you don't continue the cycle. And I think that is probably one of the biggest reasons why people feel like there's something wrong with them, because they live cycles and they're like, holy crap, I can't believe I did this again. And the truth is, any relationship you have, any cycle or any pattern that you have been living is always an attempt to get you to awaken in a different way, to get you to become conscious of something in a different way, or to heal from past wounds. Now, if you're not, if you haven't been super conscious and you've kind of been living your life in this unconscious state, you can't fault yourself for that. You can't fault yourself for that. I was actually thinking about a situation that we had a long time ago this morning, a few years back, and we had a young gentleman living with us, and he was addicted to drugs, and a lot of things happened that were truly horrible. And some may say unforgivable, what happened between us. And, he kind of left and didn't really apologize and didn't really make peace with us or have any sort of closure. And I thought just today, I was thinking, because I love this young man so much, and I would literally greet him with open arms once again into my life, because I felt like there was a soulful path between us. I would greet him with open arms and I would say, that wasn't you. That was the drugs. Now, that doesn't discount somebody's, crappy behavior, or the fact that they continue to use drugs or use substances that make them act like crappy human beings. That doesn't make an excuse for them. But it does signify that we are all going through this journey. Every single one of us is going through this journey. And at the time of whatever we're experiencing, we're doing the best that we can. Whether we are unconscious or conscious, it's all an attempt to get us to wake up and to live life more consciously. So, with that said, everything that you have walked through in your life has prepared you for life today. It's prepared you for the clarity, for the conditioning, for the understanding, for the wisdom, for the healing, for whatever you need in this moment. What you have walked through in your past is here to prepare you for this moment, like allow you to take this moment into a greater place. It can't do that when you're living in regrets. It can't do that when you are sitting there, faulting yourself for whatever you experienced in the past. It can't do that. So if you have a lot of regrets over relationships ending or divorces or, job losses or the big things in life that felt like major mistakes that maybe influenced a lot of people, like maybe it influenced your children, maybe your children had to grow up in a different way because of choices that you made or unconscious, things that you did. The truth is we all have a journey, and they have a journey just as much as we do. And whatever they've gone through is not something that we've put them through. It's what their journey needed them to walk through to help them awaken and grow. So if they're not in a state to know that or to experience that, you letting go of the guilt and the regret and the shame is something that will help set them free. Anybody in your life, if you are living a lot of regret, a lot of shame, and a lot of guilt, you will get a major reflection from other people about that. Once you let it go, there's no more of that. There's no more guilt. There's no more shame. There's no more regret, because you have accepted. Like, regret, shame, and guilt are like you're not accepting what happened. You're not accepting the full experience of what you could be experiencing in a healed state, because you are living in this static energy. You're living in stuck energy. And I'm going to do a little exercise at the end to help you to release that stuck energy and to set new intentions for new energy, so that you don't keep creating from this cycle, whatever the cycle is. And if you've let the cycle go, congratulations. I think letting patterns and cycles go could be one of the most challenging things we have to do as humans, because as we start to let cycles and patterns go, we free ourselves, we elevate our vibrations, and we place ourselves in a new reality, allowing us to create in a new way. That's mastery when we can do that, when we can truly let a cycle go. And letting a cycle go isn't necessarily not doing the same things. It's literally responding differently. As soon as you start responding to life differently, that's when life becomes new. That's when you get a new opportunity to create something that is beyond what you've experienced before. It's fantastic. It really is. And it's an indication that you have power, and allows you to utilize that power in such a way that you become all that you came here to be. When we are in regrets, when we are in our state of beating ourselves up, when we're self-critical, when we're judgmental of ourselves, we are not placing ourselves in the most optimal way for experiencing life to its greatest potential. All the joy, sometimes I'm just amazed what people will live or what they will tolerate, or, because they don't want to connect with these vulnerabilities. They don't want to connect with these wounds. They don't want to heal because they think that the healing process is too painful. But I'll tell you what's painful is living a life where you are in denial to the things that are going on underneath, and letting those things unconsciously create in your life, and then acting like you're the victim and blaming everybody else. To me, that's a way more painful way to live than facing your stuff, healing from it, asking the right questions, and allowing that energy to release from you. So some of the detriments, or some of the negatives to not dealing with your cycles and not dealing with your patterns or healing from what's happened to you, are that you will be subject to a lot of different things that you will feel like you have no control over. So some of those addictions, maybe a shopping addiction, hoarding. We've seen so many, I just had an experience with that. We've seen so many people that are in these hoarding experiences, and it's because their mental game is so chaotic and so messed up that they can't even like deal with anything outside of themselves. Addiction to drugs, addictions to alcohol, addictions to shopping, addictions in general, just being addicted to, scrolling your phone, or just things that you feel like are beyond your control, even though you said you weren't going to do it, but you're still doing it. And heavy foods, heavy activities, like, just watching TV all the time or being on electronics all the time. If you have a lot of extra weight on your body, that is an indication that you have heavy energy inside your body that you haven't allowed to shift, or that you are emotionally eating and not allowing yourself to actually feel your feelings. You're using food to try to bypass the feelings. And then there's a whole boatload of stuff that goes along with that. Disordered eating, anytime you're not eating enough, or you're depriving yourself, or you're, bulimic, all of those things are associated with this feeling of not being in control. So if you have this feeling of powerless or not being in control, there is nothing wrong with you other than you have not dealt with your stuff. That you have not, and I'm not saying this from like a therapy standpoint that you need to go and like go over your problems with somebody or your past with somebody. I'm saying you haven't dealt with your stuff in a conscious way that allows you to move through it, heal from it, and become someone new. And I'll give you a few, I always do like journaling or writing prompts to help with this process. So I can give you a few of those before the show's over, to kind of open you up, to find out what is at the core of this. Why am I doing this? It's asking yourself, not the world, not the committee out there. It's asking yourself, why is this happening within me? Why do I keep living these cycles? And not until you start asking questions can you get the answers. Because if you don't ask the questions and you're continually distracting yourself away from that true internal voice of truth, not the internal voice of the critic, the internal voice of your truth. If you're not going within and really asking yourself these important questions, you're living on the surface of life. And the surface of life, you can't go deep. You can't really get that deep satisfaction, that deep gratitude, or that deep joy when you're living on the surface of life. This is like those moments where you come and you face whatever's going on. Have you ever been like in a situation with somebody and it's like super awkward, and there's so many things that are like unsaid, and everybody's just trying to pretend like everything is okay? That was like my childhood pretty much. I think it was really I'm in my 50s, and I think it was a really prevalent thing, and this could be beyond that decade of being born. But I think that generationally, that's kind of how people dealt with stuff. They didn't deal with it. I mean, if you had a family that dealt with it, that's great. But for the most part, talking to people, doing healing work with people, I've noticed so many things were swept under the rug. So many things weren't dealt with. And so many people couldn't share their heart because people were afraid of being vulnerable. They're afraid of getting hurt, or they didn't even have the capacity of consciousness to be able to connect with what was going on, or what needed to be healed, what needed to be recovered. So if you grew up in a family like that, where a lot of things were just gone unsaid, and you're still in that family and that's still going on, you're going to feel that in ways as you start to awaken, where it starts to become like intolerable. And that's where I think I got in my uh, probably late 30s, early 40s. I started to get to the point where it was not tolerable anymore. And I had to share how I was feeling, despite what that meant to my relationships, which ultimately ended up ending quite a few of them. And sometimes that happens, and that's always the risk, because when we do kind of initialize, get vulnerable, and share how we really feel, some people aren't ready to hear it, and they'll take it on the defense. They'll take it as though you're attacking them or you're blaming them. And back then when I was doing it, there probably was quite a bit of blame and victimhood going on, because I didn't understand. I didn't understand that I was responsible for what I was tolerating, that I was responsible for the lack of boundaries and the things that I was accepting from the people around me. So if you're in that situation, I would say go gently, go gently. I wouldn't recommend writing a letter to someone and telling them everything that they ever did wrong. That's not the most compassionate route. I would first actually just work within yourself, and then get to the place where you have some compassion for the person that you're dealing with, and you have some understanding of kind of what they've gone through. Because anytime we're in this blame game and we're pushing blame and victimhood, and we're telling somebody how we feel because we want them to, hurt for it, or we want them to be sorry for it, or any of that, that's a challenging position to be in. It's a really challenging position to be in. You're better off, coming from a place of, I'm sharing my feelings because I need to get this out because it's intolerable anymore. And I'm going to do it from a place of love and compassion and not blame. And it may not go as well as you want it to go. But the fact is, if we keep all this stuff bottled up inside, if you keep all of your traumas, all of the things that really affected you, the things that really moved you into this place of being very protective and very wounded and kind of put walls around your heart, if you continue to live that way, you're going to continue to live quite a bit of loneliness, and you're only going to be on the surface of life. You're not going to be getting to that depth and that expansion and that growth that you are being called to. That's what all of these experiences are. They're a call to get you to go within, and I know I shared this before, but I thought it was the coolest definition of depression. I thought this was such a cool definition, to think of depression not as being depressed, but to think of it as being compressed. So it's basically like the outside world is not satisfying the answers that you have, so you go down deep within. And it may feel horrible, it may feel terrible, but it's always because of your perspective, right? It's that perspective of waking up every day and saying, I'm sad and I'm lonely and nothing out here is good for me and I want to give up. That's always just the external world and the internal world calling you away from that external world, because the external world is no longer satisfying the answers that you have deep within. It's a spiritual awakening. It really is. If you can get a handle on it, if you can bypass the labels, the idea that you are mentally ill, the idea that you don't have control over yourself, all of those things just lead you or lend you to being sick. We are given so many labels about sickness, about things that are not curable, about pains in our bodies that there's no, we have to take medicine for because, our bodies have gone haywire and they're not working correctly. The truth of the matter is, and if you want to know more about this, I would highly recommend looking up Greg Braden or Bruce Lipton or Joe Dispenza. We are healing mechanisms. Our bodies, our cells fully replenish every 21 days. And anything that has been hanging out in you for years and years and years, or months or weeks or whatever, is only because of the way, the signal that you're sending to it. It's the belief that you have about it. I have this disease. I have this illness. I have this thing wrong with me. I'm mentally ill. I'm not stable. I'm depressed. I'm anxious. There's so many. I'm ADHD. That's a big one. I think I shared a little bit about that last week. All of those labels lend a belief system within you that can't possibly change it. It can't allow you to change or even allow you to find new solutions, because all of those things are in direct alignment with the problem. And the problem can't possibly, it's a different vibration from the solution. So in order to get in alignment with those things, it's really important for you to grasp that, to really get a handle on that, and to say, you know what? I've lived this for a long time. This has been my identity for a long time, but it is not who I am. And it is no longer who I wish to create from. I am ready to make changes. I am ready to take on a new way of being, a new way of living, a new way of becoming. I am a creator. I am powerful. I am the source of my power. I'm an expression of infinite intelligence and wisdom. And I have the potential to change anything in my life, even something that you've had for the longest time that you feel like there's no way. You can change it by believing that there is a way. So all those ailments that you have, the things that you keep just playing over and over and over again, no, if you are dealing with like an illness or pain or something going on in your physical body or even your mental body, I want you to pay attention to exactly how you feel about it and exactly the signal you send to it. And the best way to do this is first thing in the morning, the second your eyes open, what are your first thoughts about it? Like before you even step out of bed, what are your first thoughts about the ailment, the disease, the label, whatever it is? Because those first thoughts, okay, sorry about that. Little pause there. I had to pause the show because I was getting a delivery, but I'm back. So let's dive back into there is nothing wrong with you. So if you are dealing with that feeling that you need to be fixed, that you need some kind of program, that you need to keep working on yourself, you're coming from a low vibrational system. Now, it's part of your process, yes. Like it's an important part of our process to recognize that we have things that we need to work on, to recognize that there are things that we can do to become better, to become more whole, to become expanded. But if you are consistently buying programs and hiring coaches and signing up for things and going to all these different things to try to fix yourself, you're not coming from a place where you're actually going to be able to do the most optimal amount of work. Yes, it works. Yes, you can still grow and expand in that element, but doing it from a place of my expansion and growth matters, not from a place of I need to be fixed. I need to figure this out so I can fix myself because there's something wrong with me. That vibration will always keep you in a low level of creating, a low level of self-esteem, a low level of self-criticism. It will always keep you in that constant battle against yourself. I'm not good enough. I don't know enough. I always say this about people that are going to school consistently, like they never stop going to school or taking courses. I mean, it's great to learn, expand, and grow, but it's like paralysis of analysis. It's almost like they're afraid to start their life. So they're just going to keep doing education because they never feel good enough to actually step out and do the thing that they are getting educated about. So be aware of that, because it happens because we grow up in families or in societies that tell us we're not good enough, that, unless we go to college, we're not educated. All of those things are not true. Unless we, do certain things and get good grades and pass school and do all those things, we're not good enough to be certain professions. And the truth is, we've got this intelligence. We have this infinite intelligence and wisdom that is coming through us. You also have this massive perspective. So there's no one like you. There is no one on this earth who has had the exact same experiences, the exact same traumas and tragedies, the exact same wisdom and brain and brilliance and all essence. You have your very own essence that is contributing to the life around you and wants you to become more, wants you to understand your power, wants you to understand that you can be, have, and do anything you want. That is the call. That is the call of your deeper soul, your deeper connection, your deeper knowing, the realization that this is all a big freaking illusion. We get so caught up. You get so caught up in these little things, like these things. I saw this all the time when I was taking clients, and how they would spin out. And of course, I have experienced this myself, where you grab something, right? You grab a piece of information that, you see online, or somebody tells you about it, and you grab onto it as if it's like true, like as if it's happening. And it's like something you don't want. So it creates a lot of fear. And it's not just creating fear, it's activating fear within you. You already had that fear within you. You already had that feeling of powerless within you. It's activating it to the point where you can do something about it, or you can continue the cycle of living in fear and upset and projection of what you don't want to happen. There's a lot of this going on in the world, especially right now. I caught myself recently and I don't usually or ever get political, but I caught myself recently looking at different things online, of course, about this, political stuff, which I've never been a political person. So I try my best not to pay attention to it, because it doesn't lead me to joy. And you can say it's denial and whatever, but it's like, if I'm not going to do anything about it, then what is brooding over it or fussing about it or getting fearful about it going to do? So I try not to pay attention, but of course, Facebook is like a news feed now. So I caught myself recently going like, we're screwed. And I was like, what? We are so not screwed. Like, we live in an incredible place, an incredible time. We live in the most incredible time ever to create the world that we want. There is so much knowledge. There is so much information. There is so much that we can do to take our power back. We live in the best possible time to do that. So if you're listening to the doom and gloom, if you're insisting that it's doom and gloom, if you're insisting that things are just a complete mess in our world, that's the timeline you're on. That's the frequency. That's the radio station you're going to tune into. So if you want to stop feeling like things are wrong, that things are going wrong, that things aren't going to be right for you or for the world or for your family or for other countries, if you insist on that, then that's the timeline you're joining. That's the party that you're walking into. If you want to take your power back in that experience, it's deciding how you're going to feel, what you're going to believe, what you would like to happen. And it's focusing on all of those things and taking your eyes and attention off of the illusion of what they say is going to happen or what it looks like is going to happen, because none of that is concrete. None of it is concrete. And even something that is created in our reality that looks like a worst case scenario can change very quickly depending on how we respond to it. So we respond to it. We have all the power here, and you are more powerful than you have ever allowed yourself to be. You have the ability and the capacity to manifest anything that you are interested in, no matter what you've experienced before in this life. Now, there are things that you must work on. One is how you feel about yourself. That's probably the biggest component to creating something new is how you respond to yourself. So when things happen, when things don't happen, when you're putting yourself out in the world, when you're in relationships, when you're at a job, when you're just moving and navigating through the world, what is the treatment of yourself? What is that relationship that you have with yourself? Is it critical? Is it damning? Is it judgmental? Is it beating yourself up? Is it being in denial of your contribution to things, right? Like, is it stuck in victimhood? Because you're contributing to everything. You're allowing things to happen. If you're getting super resentful about people because they're walking all over your boundaries, you're the one who doesn't have boundaries. You're the one who's allowing that. So in the grand scheme of life, it's about taking your power back and deciding, okay, if I want to experience life at its greatest potential, if I want to experience life to the fullest, what would I have to do and who would I have to become to experience that in that way? You know, am I waking up every day dreading my day? That's not going to lead you to the best day. It's not going to lead you to the best life. Am I noticing the beauty and the love and the sunshine and the sky and all the wonderful things around me? Am I paying attention to like what really matters? Because if you talk to anyone who's had a tragedy, a serious illness, lost people in their lives, like people passed over. If you talk to people that have had like real experiences where they face something so important, you will see that they don't sweat the small stuff, that they don't sweat the little tiny worries and concerns and all the things that cause them misery. You'll see it across the board because there's an appreciation for life. People who have gone through real financial crisis and now live in abundance, they live higher than someone who was living in abundance all along because they have that contrast, they have that gap, they have that story, that perspective of coming back from it. And if you're in that moment right now where you're in a financial crisis, I send you all the love and all the compassion. I've been through many of that stuff myself. Bankruptcy, house foreclosure, cars repossessed, negative bank balances, credit. I mean, just so many things that even up until yesterday, now that was 10 years ago, 12 years ago. And then we briefly went through it 9 years ago again. Yesterday, I got a full tank of gas. And today I looked down at my gas gauge and I was like, oh yeah, I got a full tank of gas. That feeling is an up level in my experience that I would not have had if I was always able to fill my bank account with no concern or, no creating, like just taking it for granted. So it's not to say that you have to have a tragedy in your life not to take life for granted, but it does lend to a really huge experience. Like if you've ever had the flu, you really, really engage with your health after that. You really get excited about feeling good again. Maybe you start exercising. Maybe you start taking better care of yourself because of that contrast of that illness. So if you are in a state now where you're feeling like, you've got work to do, you've really screwed up your life, you've really screwed up your relationships, maybe you're facing life kind of alone, and you've really been traumatized where you don't trust people, and maybe even you feel like there is no such thing as love for you anymore. All of those things are leading you to this moment and asking you to heal from those situations so that you can create what your heart really wants, what you really, really want inside, which is depth, which is love, which is connection, which is prosperity, abundance, feeling supported, feeling like you're being taken care of, knowing what you want to feel, and then doing your best to feel that way every single day, no matter what your reality is showing you, is the fastest way to move energy. It's just like this wave behind me, that wave of quantum energy. So by putting forth your intention, by putting forth your decision, by putting forth your determination to feel a certain way, it's like, you know what? I would wake up in the morning and my bank account would be negative, and I would look at it and I would start to laugh about it. And I would say, there's no way I'm negative in the universe, because I give way too much value. I give so much value to this universe that my abundance is assured. And because of that, that situation changed pretty quickly. Within a very short time, our abundance became radically clear, more radically clear than it had ever been before. Where, the first time that we went through real abundance, like having real abundance, I felt a ton of anxiety about it. My husband did as well. We definitely treated it kind of like a lottery win and didn't really respect the money part of it. And we didn't really understand the spending part of it. And it was a chaotic energy. And now we can see what it means to truly be abundant. It doesn't mean that you spend everything you have. It doesn't mean that you spend to prove that you're abundant. It means that you respect it and you love it and you have fun with it, but you don't deplete it constantly. Yes, money needs to be in flow. I totally believe that. I don't believe in constriction. I don't believe in deprivation, but I do believe in an even flow of in and out, where it's not like so much is going out that you have anxiety and, it's coming in, but if the flow doesn't continue, you're going to be in trouble. That's not abundance. Abundance is, having that security, having that nest egg, having that, that feeling that there's always enough. There's always enough because there always is. Watch your language with your finances. If you're really feeling like you want to move places in your finances, watch your language. Stop saying things like, I can't afford it, or I don't have the money, or I don't have enough, or every time I have money, something happens and it takes my money, right? There's always something. I hear people say this all the time. There's always something. Well, guess what? If you say and believe there's always something, there's always going to be something. You are always, always, always creating. You are always sending a signal to whatever it is that you want to create, and you are always influencing the field of energy. And it happens through this wave. So as you think and as you feel and as you believe, that comes out as a wave into the universe that starts to break down and become physical matter. And within a minute and a half of sending a signal to something, you will see physical evidence of it. And that physical evidence will tell you where you're at. So you wake up and you're super grumpy and everybody around you is grumpy. Guess what? You started that. You started that by getting up and dreading your day, hitting your snooze, saying you didn't want to go through to work, saying you didn't want to deal with life. All of those feelings are currency in the universe. They are creating a current in the universe. So if you want to create more currency, and understand currency is not just money. I had this conversation with my daughter yesterday because she was actually helping someone clean out their home, and their home was really, really in a bad state. And they gave her a lot of money to clean it out, and it was really overwhelming. And she started to realize through this experience the currency that was involved. It wasn't just the money. It was about changing someone's life. It was about making a difference to a woman who she loves, who she adores, who deserves to live better than she's living. Currency of creating situations for yourself and for others that radically improve lives, radically improve your life and their life, put you in what they call a helper's high. And that helper's high is a higher vibration. You feel good about it. This is why in AA they have sponsors. because being a sponsor puts you on this helper's high that helps you to not pick up alcohol again. It also helps you to heal. It helps you to recover by helping somebody else recover. And that was my post this morning on Facebook. It is Tuesday, by the way, August 27th. I am recording today, recording live, as you can tell from my little pause there, because my birthday is Thursday. I'm going to be 52 on Thursday, the 29th. So when this airs, I will be having my little birthday celebration. And then my husband and I are going away to Montecito on Friday for a little weekend getaway, which we try to do for our birthdays and our anniversary, just to create some specialness and also just to get away and live life fully. So today is Tuesday. My post today was all about your perspective and how your perspective changes everything, and that no one else has your perspective. And by leaning into that and trusting that and believing in that and understanding that everything you have experienced up until now has equipped you for more. And it allows you to be that beacon for somebody else, to use those traumas, those tragedies, whatever you went through, those challenges, those really, really hard times, to use those hard times for good. You transform them when you do that. You transform them, you heal from them. When you share your experiences with other people that are maybe they're a little bit further back than you are, and you can say, hey, I made it through, and you're going to make it through too. You elevate the collective consciousness, all of us together, is elevated by you supporting, loving, and giving compassion to somebody else. And it's even more elevated the more love and compassion and understanding you can give to yourself. The more you can let the stuff go, the more you can say, I tried my best. I did my best. And maybe it wasn't good enough for that particular person, but I learned a lot about what that relationship taught me. I learned a lot about moving forward. I learned a lot about how to not do certain things and how to not navigate certain things. Will you stay conscious forever? No. That's the thing. There's things that happen, and all of a sudden we kind of go unconscious again, and we create these little scenarios, and they are like the bread and butter of wisdom, because they teach you something. If you're in the space to be able to look at them and not beat yourself up, to go, oh, okay, I did that because, okay, I'm not going to do that again. And will you? Potentially. But the patterns, the cycles, all the things that you're walking through are a super important part of your growth. They're a super important part of what makes you who you are today and what will fuel the fire to who you are tomorrow. There is nothing that you get from being critical of yourself, from beating yourself up, from putting yourself down, from feeling like you're not enough, from feeling like you have to, prove yourself for people to love you. There's nothing that you gain from that anymore. It's time to wake up. It's time to wake up to the truth of that, because you are here for a very, very important reason. And that is your path to growth, your path to expansion, your path to all of it. All of that is so good and so important and so necessary. Oh, here's a little caveat. Okay. So in that, I have a new book out, The Perfect Unfolding for the Expansion of Your Soul. This is available on Amazon. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited about this book being available. You can find it. Just look up the title, The Perfect Unfolding for the Expansion of Your Soul by Goldyn Duffy, a deep, soulful journey into your truth. And this is a different book than what I've written before. I did get some messages through my dreams, and I'm pretty proud of this one. Yeah, really. I mean, I'm proud of all of them. So I'll just have a little book fun right now. Mindful Manifestation Secrets is a really great guide to manifesting. It will give you all the breakdown of how to manifest, how to understand and read energy. And it's our story from moving from Connecticut to California and how we did it. Quantum Speak for Parents is about energetic parenting. And my last one, which I know I brought up, is my journal. And this has all the writing prompts you would need to help you on your healing journey. It's 100 pages of content. It's a beautiful hardcover book. This makes a great gift for someone. And this also, I'm very proud of it. The design of this book is so gorgeous inside. Like, just look at this. It's just so beautiful. And there's 100 pages of journal entries and information, and some of my podcast episodes to help you along the way. Mindful Manifestation Secrets has podcast episodes in it as well. And then this Perfect Unfolding for the Expansion of Your Soul just mentions in the beginning to listen to the episodes that really resonate for you and are really calling to you. This journey is so individual for so many of us, where we kind of feel like we're on an island, especially if you are really expanding, really growing, and really getting spiritual beyond the people, your tribe, beyond the people that you're friends with. It can feel like a very lonely path. And I think if you can just find a small group of people to resonate with, even one person. My husband and I were talking about this last night because my girls, they're really challenged. My younger girls are really challenged because they're very spiritually evolved for their age, and kids their age are just, they're drinking, they're going to the bar, they're finishing college. They're on a different trajectory, where my daughters are really about finding out what they're here for, what this best spiritual path is, clearing energy, being part of the energetic world. It's challenging. So if you can just even find one person to resonate with, which I'm glad they have each other. And my husband and I were saying, we're really glad we have each other, because having that bond, having that deep soulful connection, even with just one person, can make you feel less alone. So you are not alone. You are never alone. And if you can have a really strong meditation practice, the little exercise I'm going to do in a second, I started thinking about it the other day, and it's what I've been doing is beyond meditation. It's beyond meditation. So if meditation hasn't worked for you, forget about it. This is beyond meditation, because this is bringing in energies and frequencies that are of a higher realm, and it's releasing any stuck energy that might be interrupting your process of being in that stream of really ease and flow energy. So that's what I've been doing the last month or two, is just really bringing in higher frequencies and getting in tuned with something that goes beyond meditation. Because once you get a meditation practice going, once you're able to quiet your mind enough, now you have an open field. Now energetically, you can invite in new energies, new identities, new creation powers, because you're not in that will with your mind. You're not trying to override the mind. You're not trying to beat the mind down. You're in a more settled space where you can kind of open yourself up. So I'm going to do that in just a second. So there's nothing wrong with you. There's absolutely 1000%, without a shadow of a doubt, no matter what you have lived in your life, there is nothing wrong with you. You are here to expand and grow from all of it. You are in the perfect place for more. You are here as a representation of infinite intelligence. And because of that, you have infinite intelligence on your side. You have non-physical guides and support to assist you anytime you invite it in, them in, whatever you believe in. And when you can let go of that density, the density of this human experience, which is the part that is self-critical, the part that wants to keep you down, wants to keep you safe, wants to keep you the same. When you can create that space and start to detach from that, what's left is this beautiful ride, this beautiful stream of consciousness where you get to create and navigate in every moment. You get to become a difference. You get to share light and high energy and really, really amazing belief systems that catapult your life into the next realm, whatever timeline you are interested in becoming part of. All right, so I'm going to invite you to close your eyes and just take a nice deep breath. And really exhale all the air out of your body. And then breathe in again. And breathe out. And we're just going to call upon this moment to go beyond what we have known before, beyond what has been experienced in your now reality, your past reality. And we're just calling ourselves to go beyond meditation, beyond the physical reality. And we're opening ourselves up. So I want you to imagine that within your body, there's this incredible purple violet flame. This has been called the Saint Germain flame. And this flame is it's coming up through your feet. So you may feel some heat in your feet. It's coming up from the core of the earth. And it's going all the way up, and it's just causing this cleansing, this clearing of your energetic body, your energetic cells. It's releasing you from your past. It's releasing you from regrets. It's releasing you from your tendency to be self-critical. So it's burning all the way up, burning in your root, which allows you to let go of feelings of lack, of generational cycles of depression, generational cycles of not having enough, burning up through your sacral, under your belly button, just burning out any blockages or any beliefs that you are blocked to your creativity, releasing any blocks to your emotional field, any emotion that you need to process and feel to heal. And it's allowing you to be in a place of cleanse, clear, vibrant. So then bringing that energy up through your abdomen, we just burn out any interruptions of your self-esteem, your self-confidence, burning up any powerlessness or unworthiness or not feeling good enough. And letting that flame burn through your heart, releasing you from unforgiveness, from resentments, from self-hatred, from hatred of others, any blockages to your love channel, feeling unlovable, feeling unforgivable, and any jealousy or comparison. And then bringing that light up through your throat, we just burn the throat chakra, allowing us to burn any blockage of us speaking our truth, any harsh words or harsh thoughts that we may have about ourselves and others. And then letting that light come up into your intuition, just burning the flame in your third eye, allowing you to clear any confusion, any blockages to your intuition, anything that's keeping you from really moving forward. And then all the way up through your crown, we just burn like a flame at the top of your head. We just burn out anything that blocks your spiritual connection. So any depression, any low vibrational energies, any low vibrational thought systems or patterns, we just ask that they fully release. And then being in this clear space, we bring in the light and love from above. So as above, so below, we bring this beautiful energy down, all the way down, swirling across your neural pathways, through this beautiful mind of yours, allowing you to activate higher pathways, higher conditions, higher identities. Bringing that light down into your throat, clearing the path for beautiful words, for beautiful wisdoms, for a beautiful channel. Allowing that light to go into your heart, so your heart is connected to your throat, so you can speak from your heart, so you can speak from love and compassion and understanding. Allowing that light to come into your abdomen, fully activating your power as an infinite, intelligent, wise being on this earth. Coming into your sacral, activating your creativity, balancing out your emotional fields. So you no longer eat for your emotions, but you allow yourself to feel. And then coming down into your root, we fully activate the light of abundance, prosperity, support, faith, trust. Bring that light all the way down your legs, all the way into your feet. Imagining that the light comes out like roots or cords in the bottom of your feet and comes all the way down into the earth, wrapping itself around the crystalline center and drawing that earth energy up to ground this new identity. this new identity of knowing that you are whole, that you are healed, that you are here to experience all of it. You are strong and powerful and wise and brilliant. So just let yourself integrate this super high energy. Allow yourself to be in the now, in this moment, knowing that all is well, knowing that all things are turning to good, and that there is no concern for your safety, for your support, for your freedom, for your well-being, and for your knowing of the love that you are. So just take a few breaths and just allow yourself to really integrate that beautiful energy that is you, that you are an extension of. That is my show for today. I love you all. Peace out.